we're going. So we're on the G chord. Back to the D. Here it is. Hey YouTube, hope everyone is doing well. We are back with another lick lesson. My name is Steve Harms, by the way. For those of you who are new to the channel, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to be talking about going from the 5 chord back to the 1 chord. So super common progression in country, especially like the classic country. A lot of the progressions you see, similar to the blues, they follow kind of like a 1, 4, and 5. And all that means is in the key of D. I turn my tuner off here. In the key of D, we're going to go from our D chord to our G chord to our A chord and back to our 1 or our D. So the D would be the 1, the G would be the 4, the A would be the 5. And the reason we assign these numbers to the chords is that's kind of where they fall within the scale. So if we're thinking D, we'd have D, E, F sharp, G would be our 4th degree, and then A is our 5th degree. So that's the reason why they call it a 1, 4, 5. But today I want to talk about when the progression is playing that A chord, stuff we can do that helps us resolve back to the 1 chord or the D. So I'm going to play through just a shuffle, a backing track. And you'll see kind of how I'm incorporating this. Once we go to that A chord, the first pass I'm gonna kind of do simple, keep it simple. And then the second pass I'll try to embellish a little bit more and make it a little more interesting, just so you can kind of hear it, different flavors of the same idea. So let's... Alright, I think we're going. So we're on the G chord. Back to the D, here it is. So that was simple. So let's do it again. To the G. So hopefully you get the idea there. Did it stop recording? Yes, it did. Okay. So the lick itself is just kind of based off of these 6ths, and we're kind of highlighting some of the flat 7 within the key of A, and that's that tonality that wants us to resolve to the D. So yeah, really what's going on? I'll zoom in a little bit here. The lick is starting up here, and we're just out of this D shape, but we're up on the 9th fret, so it's an A chord, A triad. And I'm picking the G string and then plucking with my finger that high E string. So this is also a good exercise in chicken picking. And then I'm just going from this shape to our A bar chord, and same thing, I'm just kind of same string set, but now I'm on the 6th fret and the 5th fret. Then I jump up here, which same thing, we're kind of splitting a fret here, but now we're on the D string and the B string. So 9th fret and then 8th fret. And then I came down here. So same kind of split fret idea, but on the 10th and the 9th fret now. On the 10th fret on the A string, and the 9th fret on the G string. And then just move that down 3 frets. And then that's where the final resolve happens to that D chord. So the first pass through, I kept it pretty simple. I just... and then that tag at the end, we have our D shape here. I'm just sliding down. Pretty much, that's actually literally the exact same thing as doing this. That we did to begin the lick in the key of A. Except I'm doing it now over D. Anyways, that was the first pass. So just kind of outlining those different triad shapes, and kind of descending them and picking them. The second pass I did, I added a little bit more. So that kind of that descending, that bit that I just talked about, still starting up here, but I'm sliding in. And then, so we slide up to that 9th fret. And you can do it different ways. I think in the pass I did that. Then once we get down here to this shape, I'm sliding in from that 5th to 6th fret, and then hitting that high E string again. And then I'm kind of sliding up to hit that. So this is the first part in the lick where you hear the flat 7. We have our G note right here. And you can think about that just like we'd play a D and a D7 here. We can play our A and our A7 there. So I'm just grabbing that. And then I kind of did still thinking dominant 7 with kind of a diminished feel, because we move it up these 3 frets, but I'm doing a kind of like a reverse banjo roll here. So I have my ring finger on the 10th fret, my pointer finger's on the 8th fret, my middle finger's on the 9th fret on the A, D, and G strings. Excuse me. Sorry. So I'm picking the A string and then rolling back with my fingers. I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, that makes a great chicken picking exercise as well. But all that's going on there, we slide it down those 3 frets, and if we put our A in the bass there on the bottom, that's just an A dominant 7, which then, and I think I ended the second one with just a little walk up there after we go back to that D chord. So that is the lick. Now that we know it, let me point this up a little bit again. Now that we kind of have it under our fingers, I just want to kind of talk about how we can apply this. So, I don't know if we're level. I don't know if that's any better, but thinking ahead while you're soloing is a pretty difficult thing to get the grasp of, right? So as these chord changes are happening in real time, thinking ahead, okay, if we're in the key of D, what's my 5 chord? Okay, that's A. And then kind of getting set up for like, okay, I know the A chord is coming, so wherever it is that I'm soloing, once that A chord is hitting in the progression, now's the time, okay, I'm thinking about my position up here. Now I gotta run the lick, right? So a great way to practice this is to put on a backing track, and I'll actually link the backing track that I used for this video is on YouTube. It's I don't remember, I think it's called Jam Tracks, but I'll have a link to the actual track itself. It's like 9 minutes long, so you can just play this over and over again, and every time it hits that part in the progression, just see if you can get this lick down. So you'll end up playing it 20 times, obviously, throughout the song. But that's a great way to get this stuff in your muscle memory, so that when you go to try to do it in a live setting or in an improvised setting, it's more second nature. The other thing I would try to do, if you feel inclined, is move this. So apply it to a different interval change. So a good one in the key of D, sorry, would also be to go from the D chord to the G chord, which if we think about the interval change, to go from that A back to our D, the 5 to the 1, we're going down a fifth or up a fourth. If you think about A, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're back to our D. Well, with D, if we go up a fourth, obviously we hit our G, which is also the same as going down a fifth from D. So I know that's confusing, but the way to think about it is relationship-wise or ratio-wise, the 5 chord going back to your 1 chord is the same as far as ratio goes as your 1 chord going to your 4 chord, which means when we're soloing, when we're just playing over the D, we can actually do this lick in D, and that will set us up nicely to hit the G, the 4 chord. So we can't really do it down here because we run out of space, right? But if we find just our this was the triad shape we used for A, so now we're just going to use our regular cowboy chord D triad shape. But since we run out of room, we have to bring it up here to the 14th fret. So you could do the same thing in the key of D. And then that resolves nicely to a G. If I could play it right. Try that one more time. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. I know we got into some theory at the end there, but that relationship of that interval between the 5 and the 1 chord, regardless of how you look at it, whether you think about it as going up a fourth or down a fifth, it happens twice in kind of that 12-bar blues pattern. So it behooves us to kind of think about these licks and to see how we can incorporate them in multiple places, just because you get like double the distance out of one lick. You learn it once and then you realize, oh, I can apply this in 2 different spots in this progression. So hopefully that's not too confusing. At the end of the day, if all you take from this is just kind of getting that one lick and you can just play it over the A chord every time, great. Start there. But yeah, I got a few more of these lick ideas. I've had a few requests over on Instagram for some licks that I played there. If you're not following me over there, I post a lot of kind of short form country content over there. So yeah, if you want to, go ahead and check that out. But I think as far as today goes, or tonight, it's actually nighttime when I'm shooting this. Finally, the kids are finally asleep, so snuck out here and figured I'd shoot a lesson. But yeah, stay tuned. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate that. And yeah, we will see you all in the next video. Actually, we're going to start slower because I did not hit record.